What's going on? Welcome back to episode 3 of Training Thoughts, okay, inside the mind of the Strangling Wrangler, right? So, just another day, okay, this is one of my intense training sessions for the week, as I've stated in the past or discussed with many of you guys. I do not train more than 2 intense, speed, plyometric, resistance training sessions per week. That's because I have a lot of time and volume on the mats, okay, in order to be technically and skillfully a master of the sport, okay, and that is definitely the thing that I've been focusing on the last few years, along with endurance and mobility training, for the most part mobility and skill training, in order to reach the peak of my potential as a grappler. Okay, I had a very long period of time training for strength, power, and explosion during my football career, so it's time to bring up some of those lacking attributes. Biggest one, of course, is the skill on the mat, because I'm very new to the game. Okay, diving into the training session here, I hit a couple build-up sprints, okay, and 2 sets of quadruple broad jumps. Okay, so I'm going to hit 4 broad jumps in a row, no reset in between, okay, and I counted 4 jumps as 1 rep. Okay, so I did 2 reps per set, so that's 8 total jumps, okay, making sure I had about 15 to 20 seconds to recover between reps, and then 3 to 5 minutes to recover between each superset or coupling of movements, okay, between my build-up sprints and my quadruple broad jumps. Okay, moving into the weight room, okay, a little bit crowded in here, so kind of just adjusting on the fly. I usually have a cambered barbell, but that's at the other facility that I work at. Okay, so today I adjusted on the fly using plain straight barbell, and I'm doing incline bench, okay, with an eccentric tempo and an isometric hold at the bottom of the rep. Okay, I believe this was a high volume day, okay, so I did 4 sets of 12 with a 4-second eccentric and a 4-second isometric hold at the bottom of each rep, trying to really distribute the force evenly across the tendon of the pressing musculature, okay, and then pairing it with a seated cable row. Trying to really control the eccentric, get a nice big stretch with an isometric period at the bottom of every movement here. Okay, again, another high volume set, okay, I believe around 10 to 12 reps. I did 4 rounds of this. And again, it's a little bit of an endurance, high volume emphasis, so I dropped the rest time drastically from my typical 3 to 4 minutes down to about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, okay, really trying to push that pace for myself there, okay. Afterwards, for my accessories, I got into some assisted reverse Nordics, okay, really trying to find a deep stretch, okay, in the quadricep muscle group. Okay, and yes, I said group because there's 4 separate muscles or 4 separate heads of that tissue, which we all colloquially refer to as the quads. Okay, so finding a nice deep stretch here, okay, really trying to build the strength and mobility of the tissue around my knees, okay. I have about 10 to 20 pounds of assistance here, okay, and I believe in the following weeks I opted to not use any assistance at all. So we're progressing over time in order to increase the demand and the overload on these tissues and on the nervous system in order to progress consistently over time. Okay, and I paired that with hand-supported single leg RDLs. Okay, I know I've discussed this. Okay, I don't really have balance issues with these. I just opt to use an extra hand support for a little bit of extra stability so I can really load up these movements. I think I'm using like an 80 or 90 pound dumbbell for these, and I think it was like 6 to 8 reps on each side. Okay, really trying to find a nice big stretch. No eccentric tempo on these ones. These are just kind of my mobility / body armor building movements for my accessories. So not really sticking to that same eccentric tempo that I would for my main movement couples. Okay. Did 2 sets of these accessory movements, okay, a piece. Okay, and then the final accessory movement that I slid in here was a back supported butterfly adductor raise. Okay. Common theme you guys will see, and as I keep reiterating like a broken record, is that I and focusing on building strength through mobility, specifically in the lower body. My upper body kind of just naturally, shoulders, pectoral muscles, deltoids. My shoulder rotation has always been pretty sufficient. Okay, my thoracic upper back extension is something I'm focusing on as far as upper body goes, but spinal rotation and flexion of the lumbar and thoracic vertebrae have always been a strong suit of mine, okay, for whatever reason. Okay, so I'm really trying to focus on opening up my hips, really improving my internal and external rotation. Okay, sitting crisscross applesauce used to be a challenge for me, so now that I'm able to use the weights for some assistance to really force these hips to open up, I'm feeling a lot better.